Oh, God. That'll wake you up.
Feels like a long time since we've listened to anything but Christmas music. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, Mezzy?
I'm okay.
That's good. I'm okay too, thanks, just in case you care.
I was pausing for dramatic effect.
Dramatic. You know what? Video is the best place to pause dramatically.
No, I was
Everybody
thinking,
loves that.
you
Good
know,
morning, Ann.
we are deciding to take the tree down today, which always makes me a little sad.
It's true. View our tree in the background for the last time till next December. Inexplicably, Christmas was the slowest paced season it's ever been this year. I mean, we didn't do anything and we got sick and no one came to see us, and yet it flew by.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens, but it sure did. It was lovely though. We had a lovely December. I hope that you did too. And a good start to your new year. For most of the world, this is the first day back. But because I just could not bear to think about going back to a full week of work, I gave my team today off as well. So we'll start back tomorrow in earnest in our day job. Oh my gosh. So, Dr. Mary.
Yes, ma'am.
We've come up with a new little theme for Mondays.
We do.
Metaphor Monday.
Metaphor Monday.
We won't always be so trapped in alliteration, but it does seem to kind of work for me. And we decided, we're coming off of Moderation Monday, and before that it was Motivation Monday, and we may go back to that. But I like this idea of talking about metaphors as a way to help people understand the complexity of addiction. Because before I lived near it, with it, I really did not understand it, and I don't pretend that I understand all of it now, but I certainly have a better sense of it. So we started thinking about just the moments of life where you think, wow, this is sort of like an addiction. And so the first one that you came up with, I think, is so brilliant, and it serves my both desire to be in service to talking about addiction so that others don't feel so alone in it, but also sort of my social justice and my environment and all these other pieces of my life, and yours too, but I'm only speaking for myself. So, Dr. Mary, do you want to share the metaphor for today, please?
Is it a metaphor? The definition of something?
It's a comparison.
It's a comparison. I can't wait till we do Macabre Monday. I tell you. I'm looking forward to that one. I was
We'll hold off on that one.
I was talking to Dana about what the actual definition of pollution is.
A pollutant.
And a pollutant,
Yes.
which causes the pollution. The actual legal definition of a pollutant is any compound, natural or person-made, that is in the wrong concentration at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Say that one more time, because I think it's really interesting.
Any compound, naturally occurring or artificial,
Person-made, yeah.
that is in the wrong place at the wrong concentration at the wrong time.
Okay. So that's a pollutant.
Yes.
All right.
An example I always give in my class when we talk about this is crude oil. Crude oil is a naturally occurring compound that occurs in pockets around the earth. As humans, we have thought it is a fantastic idea to extract it and burn it in various ways, make many things out of it. But when you're transporting it and that transportation goes awry and say an oil tanker ruptures its tanks, that naturally occurring compound, which is in a large concentration, ends up on a beach in the wrong concentration at the wrong place at the wrong time.
The wrong amount.
The
Yeah.
wrong amount. That becomes a pollutant. Also, what you use to get rid of that pollutant, which in the 70s, 80s and into the mid-90s was also to blast it with detergent to break it up, that detergent also becomes a pollutant. Now, what on earth has this got to do with anything? Alcohol can be the same thing.
Can I interject to something?
You certainly can.
So, if you think about crude oil, I mean, I'm sure the plastic on my dumb puffy vest is made out of crude oil.
Probably is, yeah.
And then, of course, our cars and trains and trucks and airplanes and all of that. But what's interesting is that crude oil in the ground as an offshoot of the compression of plant and animal matter, is that correct?
Very good.
Is perfectly harmless.
Yeah.
It belongs there. It doesn't create any disruption. It doesn't do any damage. The damage comes when you take it in high amounts and you put it someplace where it's not naturally occurring. Okay, back to you.
Of course, you could do the same. You could say the same with uranium. That's a naturally occurring all over the place.
Don't give away too many metaphors in one day. We got to keep this theory going for a while.
Yeah, but now you can't get rid of it because when you've refined it, we now have to put it under a mountain for 4,000 years.
Okay, so anyway, you asked the question: what in the world does this have to do with addiction?
Yeah, alcohol is actually a poison. At the wrong concentration at the wrong time, it could kill you.
In the wrong place.
In the wrong place.
Namely, your body.
Now, for as long as there's been the science of medicine, people have been talking about alcohol and its uses. Civilization does actually owe a lot to humans' ability to ferment things to produce alcohol. It's still used today in medical purposes. It helps reduce and stop premature labour. Still, it's a relaxant. It's a muscle relaxant. You give someone enough of it, it's actually an anaesthetic. It's a disinfectant. It's combustible. You can actually, with a little tweaking, get a diesel engine to run on alcohol. But it is a poison. So it is also a pollutant. It is someone, you reminded me that someone we've talked to actually.
Oh, Lana. When we had our conversation with Lana Whiting.
That, when she said that when she realised it's actually, you put it in your car, in your engine, because you mix gasoline and ethanol together for winter gasoline. Why would you put that in your body? Because it is actually a poison.
So the metaphor for the day is, in case you aren't getting it, I think you probably are, but I sort of like to talk about, in the New Testament of the Bible, one of the things that makes me so crazy is Jesus picks these apostles for who knows what reason, and they all seem thick as frickin' bricks. He tells these parables which are so clear, and none of them get them ever. And then he explains them and they go, oh, truly, this is the Son of God. Over and over and over again. So maybe they're just clear to us after 2,000 years because we've been told them so many times.
Tell them what you're going to tell them and tell them again.
Yes. Jesus needed to follow the 5-paragraph freshman English theme, apparently. Come on, Jesus. Anyway.
And remember, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple.
Do something right. Okay, I got it now.
So many good lessons today. Anyway, the point is, when we think about oil, mostly because of how it gets talked about today, we speak about it in a negative standpoint, even though our lives are infinitely better because of it. We are now living with the ramifications of our overuse of it and are putting it into environments where it doesn't belong and are too much of it in the wrong place and accidents and all of those things happening. But in its own form, in its own environment, it's harmless. As is alcohol. Barrels and barrels and barrels of whiskey sitting in a distillery are not the problem. They're just doing their thing. They're just hanging out, fermenting, becoming whiskey.
It then becomes a fire hazard.
Right, but but mostly they're
Yeah, but if it's-
they're harmless.
but
They're
if
in
you-
their right environment. The challenge becomes when you consume it and put too much of it in the wrong environment.
Now, not everyone who drinks alcohol will ever be an alcoholic.
Right.
There's a certain population who have a susceptibility and develop a disease from it, and so you could enjoy an alcoholic beverage quite
with some regularity.
with some regularity, without any ill health. But increase the concentration at the wrong time in the wrong place, and it becomes a pollutant, and it does damage your life, and unfortunately, it damages the life of those around you as well. So that's that was our first metaphor.
I thought it was really interesting. I really appreciate when Maz comes up with science for daily dose because the concentration is correct. Ooh. It's not an hour-long conversation. It's a 15-minute conversation at most.
Therefore, some of my students might be listening to this.
With a little introduction and a little wrap-up, it's really like a 12-minute conversation. I can stay interested in any amount of science for 12 minutes, and I hope that you can too. So, just be aware of what a pollutant really is and where it causes problems, and then think about it as it relates to the things that you are struggling with in your life, the habits, the addictions, the challenges, and recognize that it's probably not the thing, it's probably your inability to manage it, or that you have too much of it, or that it is in the wrong place. So that's the first metaphor for the new year. Have a great Monday, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah,
See you
See you
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.